91.5 WUML. That was brand new from the Duke Robillard Band, featuring Sonny Crownover on vocals and Rich Latai from Roomful of Blues on alto and tenor sax, along with Mark Texera, Brad Helene, and Bruce Bears, who was in Lowell last night as well. He was at the back page doing the jazz thing on upstairs at the Blue Tillet. So there you go. All right, I have the infamous Roaming Gnome in the studio with me.
How you doing, John?
Good. You like that little preamble that I put on my little Facebook page?
I checked it out when I went outside. And
Did you laugh?
I did. I even liked it.
Well... So tell me, I was looking at your CD while you were playing. Actually, we were out there cheering you on when you were over there. But where is this covered bridge? That's the first question.
Okay, that's in my hometown.
Yep.
Originally, because the title track or the title of the album is Me, Myself, and I wanted to have a picture of myself on a rock, just kind of standing. And it would have looked cool if it was by like the lake. We couldn't get to any rocks and get a good view of that, so we took a whole bunch of outside shots of me on different rock precipices, and unfortunately most of the pictures, even with the zoom lens, were just like too far away for like an album cover. I've used some of them for posters. It's fine for that.
You look like you're on stilts in the front cover.
That's what everyone says. Well, how'd she make you look tall? Because she shot from below me.
Yeah?
If you zoom in, you might be able to see some nasal hairs in there too. I don't know.
Oh, all right.
But that's actually in the town just down the street from me is Bradford, New Hampshire. I live in Warner, even though I have a Bradford mailing address and phone number. So it's about 6 miles from my house.
That's really nice, real nice covered bridge. And you can drive over that, I take it?
You can now, yeah. It was closed for a couple years.
So tell me, the other thing, I'm looking at all these songs, and one hit me like, wow, what's this? Waiter, there's a bomb in my soup.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
That's an old, most of these songs are old, actually. I've recorded a bunch of these. Almost everything on this album has been recorded at some point with some aspect of the bands that I play with over the years. But the whole intent of this album was just to present the song stripped down to its bare starting point. Just me, myself, and I sitting alone in a room, singing and playing an acoustic guitar. No other instruments on there. I did overdub 2 guitar leads just because the songs were so dry that they needed a little something.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to show the genesis of those songs, which are songs that I do all the time with the band. So
you still have a band?
Yes and no.
That was going to be my next question.
Well,
last time you were here, you did an acoustic set here before, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we did it right in here. We did it on these microphones in here.
Yep. And before that, you had your band in here.
Yep.
The band's still together?
Yes and no.
Sometimes they are.
Yeah, well, the Northbound, it's no longer Arthur James and Northbound. That's the main difference. It's been the Arthur James Band pretty much almost 2 years now, I guess. Originally, the bass player, Gil, went on hiatus, so I had to cover the rest of the Northbound gigs that we booked all the way through the summertime. Like, he left in the springtime, and I was booked all the way until, like, September. And it was just a spur-of-the-moment thing. He goes, yeah, I need to take some time off. I got some stuff going on. I said, all right. And I had to use pickup bass players all that year. So after I realized that he's probably not going to come back, or if he does, it's going to be in diminished capacity.
Yep.
I'm like, well, him and myself were the 2 starting points of the band. And then the original drummer, of course, Peter Johnson, passed away of brain cancer. So with nobody else that was an original member, I'm like, well, why am I going to call this Northbound? To me, that it gets to be where you're like Pink Floyd or something, or Canned Heat. Canned Heat's a perfect example because there are no original members in it. It's the drummer, still goes out as Canned Heat, but he only showed up on the second album. Right. So to me, I like, and in respect to Gil, I'm like, well, just keep that name. If we have reunions, which we did, we had like 2 reunions over this last year.
Yeah.
And they went fine. That's what we called it, Arthur James and Northbound. But since then, since Gil left, I've been calling it the Arthur James Band because I know I'm going to be there. So if I'm going to be there, then it's just the band.
You and a bass player and a drummer.
And a drummer. Still just 3-piece band. That's pretty much the way I work. If it's a wedding, party, something where somebody can cough up some extra dough, or if they specifically request, hey, we'd like to have a keyboard player, There's a couple different keyboard players that I usually call for that. Sometimes a harmonica player. So you try to make people happy with whatever they want.
So when we get the Arthur James Band in here next year sometime?
That could happen. I got to get a drummer that's going to be this year. Johan stayed with us and did most of the gigs through last year.
Yeah.
Although he freelances a lot. So then this year he decided to go on hiatus. So
Okay.
if you've been following any of my rants and or posts on the interweb, that's why I decided after this album, I did this in the summertime. I said, it's my time for hiatus. Because just trying to keep the band together and intact, it's nigh on impossible. Because so many people are
I'll never
mercenaries.
forget your rant when you went to Memphis for the first time and all the things that you said and did and described about Memphis was fabulous.
Dead on.
So let's talk about Memphis a little bit.
Okay.
You've been there a couple times.
Yep.
And from the last time I saw you at the battle, the Granite State Battle, we were talking about how you've grown from the time that you started doing all this acoustic stuff. You went, way back with the band, but just after the band when you wanted to compete acoustic, you said to me, I'm going to try to do this. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try to do it. And you did it. And then you've learned from it, from going down there and competing now, solo acoustic. You've met a lot of people, you said, and you've learned a lot of little things along the way.
Yeah.
And now look at you. You're 10 times better than you were when you started already. And it's only been a couple years, right, that you've done it? 3 years?
It's 2 years since
2 years.
I did it.
You first started to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And look at you now. Going back.
Third time is a charm, I'm hoping. My goal all along is just, it's not to try to win it. You go down there with the attitude that you're just going to compete, you miss out on everything. I make it a point to stay there the entire week.
Take in everything you can take in.
Yep. And go to as many jams as humanly possible, meet as many people.
And now you know people when you go there. That's even better.
That's what was great about, the last time I went, because I did it 2 years in a row. First I did it with the band, and the following year I won as the solo. And just even walking down the Beale Street, because it's closed off, and you just walk right down the middle of the street at any time of the day or night. People just pointing at me, and we're giving each other, the wave.
Because they remembered you from last year.
They remembered me from the year before. So it was like being home, and it was just great. To me, it really is the home of the blues. I mean, you can say, Chicago, Texas, whatever. But Memphis really does have that blues vibe to it, even though Beale Street, after the IBCs are done, there's really only 2 clubs that keep doing the blues. Yeah. All the other ones, you walk down the street, literally right after the finals are done at the Orpheum Theater, right at the banks of the Mississippi River. You walk down Beale Street, it's all lines out the door, cordoned off, and it's just boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants. And you're like, what just happened here? You feel like Roger Rabbit, when he goes through into the Technicolor world. It's like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, you were there for, a week, and all you heard was blues in just about every club. And then when that's all done, they go back to what they usually do.
Yeah, and you talk, again, talking to the people that are from Memphis, like Brandon Santini. I went to see him before the competition started. He was playing at Rum Boogie. Now I hear him all the time. He's touring all over the place. But he was saying the same thing. He's like, he goes, enjoy yourself while you're here this week. He goes, because in another week, there ain't going to be nothing here. He goes, Rum Boogie will still be doing blues. And B.B. King's, for the most part, does blues. He goes, that's it. He goes, all these other clubs, he goes, it's all techno stuff or...
Wow.
He's like, during the IBCs, it's blues. During Memphis in May, when the Blues Music Awards are going on,
it's blues.
It's all blues. He goes, anything beyond that, he goes, it's hit or miss. He goes, there's really only 1 or 2 clubs. He goes, that's why, we all us local musicians, we got to get out of here. But a lot of them that do play on Beale Street, if they have a good enough gig, they don't want to leave it for too long.
Right.
Because there's 37 other people that want to get in there and have that gig.
So that's the good thing. You get to some of your competition already.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
When you get down there, they all know who you are now, which is a good thing. And like you had said to me, at the challenge, it's a great learning experience, and it's helped you to put this new record out because now you have you've learned all these things that you go down there, you see other people doing what you're doing. You become better at it because you want to be as good or if not better than them.
Yep.
And it's forced you to do it even more. How many solo gigs do you do now outside of band gigs? Other than playing drums with bands,
I
too.
also do drums too. I mean, it's wherever the work is. You know, I learned that from Albert King. Like when times got tough for Albert King, he'd either jump on a tractor or he'd jump behind a drum set and drum for another band.
Yep.
And I've always been able to bounce back and forth doing stuff like that. I mean, somewhere down the line, I got to learn how to play bass too, because the more instruments you can play and play well enough to play out,
the more you play,
you're going to be working.
Yep.
You know, and some people don't get that, and there gets to be some jealousy sometimes because I do a lot of solo stuff, and that was the whole point of this album. Like, when you read the liner notes there, it's like,
yep,
I'm not doing this to be mean, guys. You know, this is how I wanted to present some of these songs. I've recorded them all with bands before, but I wanted people to hear almost the way the song was written in my mind. I wanted to have you inside my head, or as close as we could get it.
Well, that's how you survive now. You can go out and do a solo gig.
Yeah, well, so many places are not doing the bands anymore.
Right.
You know, and it's bad enough that you're getting paid 1979 wages still to this day.
So you adapted to all of that.
Yeah, you have to. Either you adapt or you stay home.
Yep.
And I just as soon keep playing.
So many places do you get to play solo today versus what you were doing with the band? Today, is there more solo gigs?
Oh yeah, way more solo gigs. I mean, even rooms that I was doing the band, all of a sudden, after that Great White incident happened, there were a lot of places where they would not allow me to come. I could do it as a duo, either solos or duo. What are they? I'm like, I only have 3 people in my band. And the joke at the time was Johan had set himself on fire and got 3rd-degree burns one summer, a couple of years ago, right before we went to Memphis. So, I said, Johan will hold the door open. I said, he's basically fireproof at this stage.
You're killing me.
You know? But they're like, no, we have there's an insurance rider and we can't do it. If you want to play here solo or duo, we can do that. I'm like, well, then let's do that. And it turns out to be a little bit more money because they're only paying, half of what they would normally pay for a band. But that's why I play in a 3-piece band too. I mean, I've played in bands before with 5 and 6 people for $300 to drive an hour and a half when the gas prices were high.
Yep.
You walk out almost owing money. I'm not going to do that. I can go out and play for free anytime, and I'll never stop playing. And I have no problems playing for free. Some people are like, well, you're just doing the solo things because you really want the money. I'm like, no. I want the work. I want the exposure. I want to keep getting better. I want to be as professional as I can possibly be.
And you are now.
And that's what it's all about.
You've done that.
It's all every time you play. I don't practice. But every time you pick up an instrument, you're practicing, And I prefer to practice in front of people in a live thing because it keeps me honest.
Yep.
Because I'm going to screw up. And then when you screw up, you try to make the same mistake twice. I meant to do that,
So after you come back from Memphis sometime next year, I want you to bring the band in next time, a band with your
band.
A band.
That could happen.
And rip it up like you did the last time you were here with the band.
Yeah. Actually, the last time I was here with the band was when we reunited the Acoustic Mayhem, Unacoustic Mayhem.
Yep.
We did the half acoustic, half electric set with Barson.
Yep.
Yep.
And that came out great.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the engineers there were asking me, like, how many have you released albums from here? I'm like, yeah, I think I've done like 3 different albums from here.
Yep.
First Barson and me did one as Acoustic Mayhem.
Yep.
Many, many years ago.
And then Arthur James and Northbound. Was
the
killer. That
Deluxe.
was a killer recording.
That's my dad's favorite album. He loves that one.
And then you came back with Barson.
Yep. And that was Live and In Your Hair. That's
right.
what we call that.
Live and In Your Hair. And then you came in and did an acoustic thing yourself, solo. You came in the first time just to kind of promote. That was at the time when you first started doing this.
Yeah, well, I had gotten away from it for a while because there were years where I was just pretty much playing drums. And then every now and then I would do an electric gig here or there or fill in, with some other band and do that to keep myself busy and keep myself working. But I was mostly playing drums in like 2 or 3 bands. I was the mercenary at that time as far as the drums go. And then as things started changing, and especially when the Great White thing started happening, I just started working more and more solos and duos. Once Barson and me stopped doing the duos, I tried to do it with a couple other people, and it was okay, but it wasn't
what you wanted.
Wasn't really what I wanted. And even one of the guys was a harmonica player that was a great harmonica player, but together the 2 of us, we just had a difference of opinion as to what we wanted for a finished product. So it's way easier going out solo.
So tell people how they can get more information about Arthur James. You have a website now.
Yep. Well, I've had the website for a while, but it was kind of convoluted. You had to put in like arthurjames.webs.com type thing.
But you fixed that.
Yeah, I fixed that. I bought myself some bandwidth.
There you go.
Just because I'm putting up pictures, a little bit of videos, mostly to sell the CD. And then there's all kinds of links on there, so you can go to the other social media sites. I've changed the Facebook page around. It's now the Arthur James Music page is what you want to search for.
Yep.
And then I've got a Google Plus account. And what I want to do with those two social media things is put up like different pictures that you wouldn't normally see on the website. And I may go through in the wintertime, and maybe one of my projects, dig out my old posters throughout the years with all the different bands and just do like a retrospective type thing. But just keep them different than what's on the major website. So.
Well, that's good. And you have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
And so people can get you on your web page and your Facebook page. Anything else? Any other places?
The best way to do it is just go to arthurjames.org, which is the regular website. Look under the links. If you want the social media stuff, it'll just click the link right there. You don't even have to search. It'll take you right to it. And if you want to just listen to the album before you buy it, there's links for CD Baby. There's a CD Baby music player on there.
Wow, you moved into the 20th century, 21st century. That's good.
Still trying to get paid, too, from BMI, but I'll let you know how that goes next time I see you. I've talked to some other musicians about it, too, that have been members for like 20 years, and they're yet to receive checks.
You even have a link from your old link that brings you right to arthurjames.org, which is pretty cool. Any pictures of your gnome hat on here? I haven't looked at the photos.
I don't know if there's any on the website yet. I know there's some on the regular Arthur James Facebook page.
So how did that start?
The Angry Garden Gnome?
Yeah, the Angry Garden Gnome.
That was back in the days when, I was doing a jam with Barson and Ephraim.
Yeah.
Ephraim Lowell from Room Full of Blues, who I've had the pleasure. He's done a bunch of gigs with me towards the end of this year. Since Johan went on hiatus, then I've been filling in with different drummers, and Ephraim's done a bunch of gigs with me.
Man, look at all these gigs. I'm looking at your website.
Yeah, November was supposed to be pretty much this.
Wow.
And like 1 or 2 gigs, and all of a sudden
Look at
everything
them all.
dropped in my lap.
That's amazing.
So
Wednesday nights, you're booked just about all the way through the whole.
Yeah, that's a new place called Nolines. Well, it's not a new place, but it's a new place for me. I just kind of lucked into that one. A friend of mine had me come out and share a gig with them one night, and they liked what they heard. And just because it's a jazz club / blues club, what I was doing acoustically fit perfectly because it's a dinner crowd. You're playing 6 to 9, so they wanted something that was low volume but good enough energy that keeps people engaged. So
tonight you got a 2-hour drive from here.
Yeah.
To Theodore's. Are you solo tonight, or you have a band?
Tonight is with the band.
Who's in the band tonight with you?
Tonight is going to be Connie Putnam on bass. He's been playing bass with me since January, February this year.
Yep.
Most of the gigs. He's done almost all of them. And then Dan Bunchy.
Yeah, I know Dan.
So Dan's another mercenary type drummer. He did some gigs with me earlier this year. And he was actually going to join. He was going to pretty much replace Johan when Johan was going on hiatus. And then he had car problems, and he had a chance to join a band that was going to play a lot close to his house.
He lives in the Worcester area, right?
Yeah, somewhere down
Webster
there.
or somewhere like that.
Yeah, it's south of Worcester.
Yep.
So he's like, yeah, I really got to take this because this is going to be steady work. He goes, if you're going to do a lot of solo stuff, I said, Dan, I don't care. Whatever you want to do. I said, if you want. And then when he was competing, because he was actually drumming, and he is going to be drumming for Mike Crandall's band.
Correct.
So we're going to get together again next weekend, next Sunday. We're going to do the first IBC fundraiser for the Granite State.
Yep.
So that's Sunday the 16th.
Crandall band going to be there?
Yep, Mike's going to be there with the band. Myself, Delaney Pickering, who's going to go as a youth representative. Yeah, she's a monster acoustic guitar player, Delta blues style. So she got featured this year at the Barn Full of Blues.
Yep.
And they liked what they heard so much. They're like, you know what? We can send you So she doesn't have to compete because she's in the youth category.
Right.
So they're going to send her. So we need as many people to come out to that as possible next Sunday. I know there's supposed to be one more they're supposed to do, and that's going to be on a Thursday. It'll probably be a Thursday night somewhere in December. I have no confirmation if I can neither confirm nor deny, but I know it's supposed to happen.
So next Sunday afternoon.
Next Sunday afternoon, yep.
With the Mike Crandall Band. Wow.
Yep, they're going to be the headliner. And it'll probably go Delaney, myself, them. There may be some other people to do some shows.
They're a smoking band.
Yeah, I get to play every now and then with Mike at the Ton of Blues. They do a jam on Sundays in Leominster.
Yep.
And he tends to go to that once or twice a month. And for a while there in the summertime, I was going a lot more.
That guy he's got on guitar is pretty good.
Yeah.
What's his? I don't know his. I forget his name is, but he's really good.
Yeah, really very tasty.
They're from Connecticut.
Yep.
Most of those guys.
Yeah, Mike's actually made the finals down in Memphis a couple different times years ago when it was much smaller than what it is now.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was. They may not even have called it the International. It was whatever the hell it was.
Wait till they see that band that he's got going down there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's so good to see you. Great to have you in the studio. And I don't want to keep you because it's 4:45. You got to get going.
Yeah, got to get loaded up and go see a man about a dog, as they say.
But that's great. You got a gig at Theodore's. Not everybody gets to go to Theodore's.
Yeah, it's a hard room for me to get into. So for this one to just drop into my lap, yeah, definitely gonna take it.
Have you done it before with your band?
Oh yeah. This is I think the third or fourth time through there. Actually, when the last time Johan was with the band, and I think it was maybe Matt Zambito on bass. And before we played, you had the dinner. So Johan and me were walking from the end of the bar back to the stage, get ready to play, and this waitress came running up, all frantic, and she wanted to catch us before we got on stage. She goes, excuse me, sirs, I just wanted to give you this," and she gives us the money that we had left on the table.
Wow.
She goes, you left this on the table. I said,
that was for
yeah,
you.
I know, that's a tip. She's like, what? I said, it's a tip. You're a waitress. You not receive tips? She's like, I never receive tips from the bands because you guys get a food credit. I'm like, well,
I said, well, that's not fair.
I said, I always tip. I
Yeah.
said, my band always tips. We always tip well. I said, that's one of the main reasons why you get rehired.
Yeah.
Until I get to the point where I'm so rich and famous that I can actually have a contract writer and a dressing room and green M&Ms fed to me by the Swedish bikini team. If I'm going to go somewhere and eat, I'm going to tip. And
Just like you do normally. There you go.
I can't believe.
So she was shocked, I bet.
Yeah, she was. She's like, that's never, ever happened to me before. I said, well, you tell the bands from now on.
You want a tip?
Yeah, tip.
There you go.
Always remember.
So there, you'll have a gig there, and maybe Dan will come here with you when you bring the band. Maybe.
Yeah, you never know. It could happen.
He's been here. He played with one of the bands in here. I had such a great conversation with him about Boston blues, and he knows all these places. He's been around a long time.
Around a long time. Yeah.
And we're talking about Bunratty's and all those places, Paul's Mall, and he knew them all.
Yeah.
Everything that was going on. We talked about Gil Raines and how Gil Raines is gone, basically, and how that was one of the best clubs in Worcester of all time.
I played Gil Raines when it first opened. Just like I played Theodore's years ago when it first opened.
Yeah. And they're still going.
Yeah.
That's still going.
Yeah, and a couple of years ago they got voted one of the best blues clubs in America.
There you go.
So that's why when a gig like that drops in your lap, it's like, hell yeah, I'm pretty sure I could find somebody that'll want to play that room.
Yeah, play that, and Black Eyed Sally's is another place in Connecticut.
Yeah, I've tried getting in there because some friends that I met they're actually from Connecticut. Bill Shaka, Shaka and the Soul Shakers.
Yeah.
Have you ever had them in here?
I haven't. Hook me up.
I did. I mentioned it before, so I'm pretty sure they're familiar with the show. But I can send him a message and
send him a message. Tell him
because he does an acoustic duo
me.
thing as well, and that's how I met them competing acoustically, and they made it to the semifinals.
Cool.
The last time I was there, but I've kept up friendship with them. They play Black Eyed Sallies all the time. I think with the band, and maybe even sometimes as the duo.
So you get to play electric tonight.
Yeah, get to make some noise.
You're not going to open as a solo acoustic?
No. We've done
Have
that.
you ever done that?
Yeah, we've done it in a couple different things. And I used to, actually, years ago, I used to bring the acoustic guitar, and there would be like a whole bunch of songs that I would play acoustically. Because, again, a lot of places you're playing a dinner crowd, and they want that first set to be shh.
Yep.
Can't speak above a whisper. This is the library. Which is fine, because all these songs, I play them pretty much the same way. I mean, it's a different intent and a different energy.
Have you ever thought of incorporating the acoustic into the electric band, too?
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. I have done that.
Yep.
Again, just for the noise constraints, whatever room you're playing. Like when we used to do the jam at 900 Degrees in Manchester.
Yep.
It kept getting to the point where, no, you got to be even quieter. Even quieter. So I reduced it from the 2 PA speakers to 1 PA speaker. And then, well, it's still a little bit loud. I said, how about we do the first hour, I'll do it acoustically. So I'll just sit on a chair, play acoustic guitar. Johanna will play with brushes, and we'll have the bass, and then we'll get some jammers up. The only time it really got kind of loud was when the jammers would get up, because if they're not that seasoned, they're going to play a little bit louder because they don't know any better. You know, but the house band, it was perfect, and they loved it.
So next week, I need to get a hold of Audrey so I can get up and get to that place, right? She's the president, right, of the Granite State?
She is, yep. Audrey Frazier.
Yep. I'll have to talk to her this week. I think I'm a Facebook friend with her. I think I am. And you may see me next week. You never know.
Good.
I want to see Mike Crandall again. They were great.
Yeah.
And I have the Double D's coming in 2 weeks here. They're going to be playing the band that didn't win that afternoon.
That was hilarious because I actually knew Shane, the guitar player.
What's his name?
Shane.
He's great.
Yes.
Tell me that
I remember
you were telling me a story about him. Tell me about him.
Well, I met him when he first really started taking lessons from this guy Johnny C is what he goes by.
Yeah.
When I'd go to Harry's, when Harry's was still open on the Cape. Every year I go down there for my timeshare in the springtime.
Harry's in Hyannis.
Yeah, in Hyannis. So there's all kinds of blues jams down there. So he showed up at the Harry's one time.